Welcome everyone to the 2018 World Championships of Racquetball. This is the men's singles semifinals. We have Rodrigo Montoya from Mexico taking on David Horn from USA. Montoya will start off serving first.
Well, Laura, this is going to be a great match. Montoya won in a brutal 2.5-hour match yesterday against Bolivian Moscoso. Horn definitely a more comfortable win over Colombian Mercado. Beautiful shot from Horn to get the side out. Montoya with a blistering serve. Second serve, it was close. No room around us for this one. Here we are in the indoor club in San Jose, Costa Rica. That'll be an avoidable hinder. No argument from Montoya. First point for USA.
I think we heard the one USA fan clapping in here on that one too.
No, there's a lot of USA fans down to my right. Friends and family have traveled from the US along with the coaches, staff, and players from the United States. Over to my left, plenty of Mexicans watching on. Could be in for a treat. Terrific defense from Horn. Earns the mistake from Montoya as it slides down the wall. It's a reminder to share this feed if you would. This could be a classic. Oh my goodness, Horn goes behind his back, spins around completely. Side out though for Mexico.
Now one thing about Montoya's game, we saw it last night in his quarterfinal against Conrado Moscoso from Bolivia. Montoya kind of takes some time to feel out his opponent, and I expect to see things start to turn up for him in a few points.
Montoya has unbelievable power. Great
defense from Horn. Oh.
So this Montoya doesn't like Bobby Horn stamping his feet. Okay, that's in the rules. You're literally not allowed to do that because it's considered unsportsmanlike behavior. One agrees, one disagrees.
Wow.
So the call will stand as called. So he's just asking our official Arenas from Colombia to keep an eye out for that. It's the idea behind it, you're stamping your feet is to distract your opponent. That's unsportsmanlike. You're not allowed to do that.
Oh, Horn sticking with that ball, but he skips it into the front.
It's going to be a great match. Montoya hits it with such power. Horn flies around the court using terrific defense. It's a test of two different styles of racquetball. What a serve.
Yeah, Horn is generally known as being more of a defensive player. He's not known for his power, although he has been getting stronger and stronger over the last couple years. But his defense is so good. He's so quick.
Spends a lot of time on social media showing some of his training and spends time in the gym. I don't know what Horn wants there. Point given. Horn was looking for the good shot, but skip called. Oh, short serve is what he's appealing.
So yeah, referee confirming Horn is appealing a short serve.
Both line judges agree. So an appeal lost. Players get 3 appeals per game lost.
Oh man.
Montoya, surprised that Horn's ball reached the front, managed to get up there and do something with it. What a rally.
Now one thing we will see from Montoya, throughout this entire match is he will be diving on the floor. He has incredible gets. We call it getability. And he is really fun to watch in that respect.
Look at Horn switching to a Z serve to the right side, creating the setup. Beautiful backhand winner. Point for USA. These two have played each other many times before professionally, but to my knowledge, never at the adult level. This is Montoya's second adult tournament. Horn has played in several. Montoya, the 2015 Junior World Champion, overcoming his Mexican opponent, Andre Parrilla, in 2 straight games in the Dominican Republic. Perfect wide angle from Montoya. We talked about this yesterday. Montoya very emotionally controlled on the court for the most part.
Right.
Horn a little bit more vocal.
Just a little?
No comment. Wow. Power on the serve, power on the kill shot. 3 serving 4.
Montoya is from Chihuahua, Mexico, one of the big racquetball hubs out of Mexico. And David Horn is from Stockton, California, which also has a lot of great racquetball. A lot of players coming out of there, including his coach, Dave Ellis, who is the father of John Ellis, former Team USA member as well. Four serving 3 in game 1.
Replay is the call. Horn looks to the coaching staff and players, asking whether he should appeal. It might be worth an appeal, Laura. You might get that avoidable hinder call from the line judges. We used to have 5 appeals. We only have 3 now.
Oh.
Sometimes players want to save them. And certainly something you always want to do is save that appeal for maybe a game point or match point.
One thing we'll see from Montoya too is he tries to control this tempo of the game. He kind of likes to slow things down and do it at his pace. I think that was one advantage he had over Moscoso from Bolivia yesterday in the quarters. Nice, smart play down the line from Montoya for a point. Puts us at 4-4 in game 1.
Not many rallies so far in this match. Just a lot of great hitting from both players. So many people watching on from around the world. 18 different countries. Some of them no longer in the tournament, having been eliminated, are now enjoying this spectacle here on court number 1. Great tournament, great facility, great staff. It's been a real treat. Defense from both players. Wow.
Horn capitalizes on that setup. Nicely played.
Yeah, Montoya was the first to crack. He thought he could hit that forehand splat. It stayed up. Horn didn't give him a second opportunity. 4-4.
What a get.
Wow.
That
Montoya keeps the ball alive, anticipating where Horn's going.
Telling you his getability is unreal.
Really puts pressure on your opponent when you feel like, as you're playing somebody like that, I have to do better than I did last time. I have to do better. And then, of course, you go too far and skip it in like Horn did there.
Wow, that's a great rally. Really tough, and you can see how fast Horn is. He is anticipating that ball into the corner. He's trying to read Montoya.
Montoya, though, absolutely crushing the ball right now. His serves are in. He struggled yesterday with some of his serving. But right now, he's really focused, and this is going to be a very competitive match.
5 serving 4. Second serve.
Not that time.
Skip from Horn. Makes it 6-4. Short serve.
Shout out to our sponsors. We use the Gearbox Black Ball here in International Racquetball Competition, and eForce, the official racket of the IRF. Little apology for Montoya. You saw how close Horn was to him. Another point from Montoya, 7-4. That time Montoya with the mistake, side out, 4-7. So Montoya, you can see just checking the ball to see if it's broken. That's the only way you can check if a ball is broken, by squeezing it. If a ball is broken and it's determined to be broken with a squeeze, then the previous point is replayed. If the ball is hit, then the previous play stands as called. Montoya clearly knowing the rules, which are posted on our website, internationalracquetball.com.
Seven serving 4 in game 1. These guys are fighting for a position in the finals tomorrow. They will play the winner of the next semifinal between Charlie Pratt and Sebastian Franco from Colombia. Now, Sebastian Franco yesterday took out another Mexican player, Daniel De La Rosa, in an 11-10 tiebreaker. That was a pretty big upset. I think Mexico is normally so strong here. They have won several times in the past. The team event, we saw them in doubles. Paola Longoria is the singles champion. She'll be in the singles final on the women's side tomorrow. So I feel like that was a big win for Franco.
Little smile from Montoya, conversation between the two. They know each other very well. 7 serving 4. Love the serve, but not the execution on that second shot from Montoya. Caught Horn in the middle with the jam. Really fast hands from Horn. Most people, that would have hit the opponent. He got it back to the front wall, forcing Montoya to hit one more shot. Staying away from the drive serve, Horn.
You can hear David Horn saying, "You got to set up, you got to set up," to David Horn. Sorry, Dave Ellis to David Horn. We can also see teammates Rocky Carson and Sudsy Momchik in the crowd. They will be playing in the doubles semifinal later today for USA.
They'll be taking on Canada, who won yesterday. That's wild from Montoya. Smart shot from Horn, wide angle. Let's take a look at this replay. Montoya willing to hit the floor. Ball just too good. Montoya is coached by Yanko Renteria. Here today in this semifinal. Both of these players earning a medal. We do joint third. We don't have a third, fourth playoff in the IRF, but not the color these players want.
Yeah, and David Horn just took the silver medal at the Pan American Racquetball Championships in Temuco, Chile. He has been playing for Team USA for quite some time. He's also a world doubles champion, or was that Jake Bredenbeck and Jose Diaz? That was Jake Bredenbeck and David Horn?
No, Horn wasn't.
Jose Diaz.
Jose Diaz and Bredenbeck are the silver medalists from 2016. They lost to Mexico. Beltran Moreno finished this point. Great pickup, Montoya. Beautiful from Horn. Waited for it to come down. Another side out. So Mexico won the doubles in men's 2 years ago. This time Beltran is back, but with De La Rosa. They'll be trying to repeat for Mexico. In the women's division, it was the USA who won over Mexico 2 years ago in a dramatic tiebreaker. None of those players are back for doubles, so we'll see some new individuals on that podium.
Tough rally.
Oh,
Look
what
at
a
this
get.
defense.
And again, Montoya. Not that time.
Outstanding defending, though, from Bobby Horn. Unfortunately, not enough right there at the end. And Montoya just hitting so hard. Take a look
Terrific
back
defense from
at
Horn.
that replay. Look at these gets. We talked about the gettability of Montoya, but Horn, kudos to Horn.
Well, we have to say it's very hot and humid here in court number 1 at the indoor club. And these players are giving everything on the court. We had a 2.5-hour match yesterday. These efforts from both players hitting the floor may take its toll as we progress through this match.
At the same time, though, these players have to leave everything out there, right? They have to give their best effort. They are playing for a spot in the final tomorrow. It's tough, right? Because you don't want to overdo it on your body, but they know how to recover. They're no stranger to the international stage like this.
And they train for this. They're both professionals. This is what they do for a living.
This is what they've been leading up to.
That's why we see such great racquetball. It's also great, Laura. Yeah, we're watching the best of the best, but it's also been great to see a lot of amateurs here representing smaller countries across the world, giving everything and causing 1 or 2 upsets of their own. Sure, they're not on our stream for a semifinal, but I'm not sure what Horn is appealing here.
Oh,
a court hinder on the lights, I believe. Horn wanted it. Now Montoya wants it.
okay, well, that's a side out.
Great get again from the American. And again, too good for Montoya that time, kept his composure. Montoya played Moscoso yesterday and saw a lot of the same thing. Great athleticism on the court. Have to maintain your composure and not try to overthink the shot you're taking and do too much.
These guys have been locked at 4-7, 7-4 for quite some time now. It'll be interesting to see if Montoya can score here as he steps back into the service box. Coming up next, we have another men's singles match featuring Charlie Pratt from USA and Sebastian Franco from Colombia. A lot of power in Montoya's backhand. Pinch winner. He gets that point, 8-4.
He's playing really well, Montoya. I know some have questioned his forehand and have picked on that in some tournaments, but he continues to develop and show why he's one of the very best in the world.
Yeah, Montoya has such natural talent, and he has from such a young age. You mentioned he's a former junior world champion. He's played so much racquetball to be so young. And he really loves his pinches. Puts him at 9-4. Timeout from David Horn. He's going to come off the court, take a break here with his coach, Dave Ellis. Gives us an opportunity to mention an upcoming tournament in the El Paso, Texas area. We'll see a lot of players from Juarez and Chihuahua coming out to that event, as well as El Paso and Albuquerque. It's an event hosted by E-Racket, which is a local store there started by Gus Farrell. And Gary Mazarov helps run that tournament as well. It's the second bi-national tournament, a little bit of USA versus Mexico. October 25th to the 26th. You can expect to see some big names like Polo Gutierrez, Alex Landa, who was the winner last year, Alex Cardona, and Rodrigo Montoya, who we are watching right now. Should be a really fun event. Lots of participants.
Not only to watch these players, but who knows, you may get to play them as well. And any of us who are amateurs who've been able to be on the court against one of these professionals, okay, maybe we don't do so well, maybe we're not coming out the victor, but what an experience to play somebody like that and to be able to go back and experience the power and athleticism that we have on display here. It's tremendous. Of course, Gary Mazarov will be running the Senior World Championships in a couple of weeks. He's actually stayed behind in New Mexico to prepare for that event. We hope to have some coverage of that in about 10 days. If you haven't signed up, it's closing soon. We have, I think, record numbers this year at the Senior Worlds. 35 plus is the age limit. We saw 95-year-olds competing last year. It was unbelievable. So I'm not sure what our officials having a discussion about. I think it's just a clarification. Coach asked for a clarification as well. We're back in. We've just cleared the 30-minute mark. It's gone by very quickly. Players earning points when they serve. 9-4, Montoya leads. Great timeout from Horn. Smart shot down the line on the right side. 9-4. He needs to find a serve. He's tried a variety in this first game. Goes back to the drive serve by the looks of it. Wow. How does he produce so much power when he only has 6 inches as the ball flicks off the back wall? Most of us would have been really happy with that serve. Amazing talent.
9-4 in game 1.
You can hear the sound of a broken ball. Montoya squeezes it. That'll be a replay.
We are here at San Jose Indoor Club, who has been a fantastic host, doing a great job at this 19th World Championship of Racquetball. We'd also like to thank eForce, the official racket of the IRF, and Gearbox Black Ball, the official ball of the IRF.
Horn wants an avoidable. I don't think that would be the right call. Replay. Looks to his bench for advice. Told not to appeal. Reminder, these players competing for a team title as well. How they perform gives them points. Those points are combined to provide a men's title overall, a women's title overall, and a combined title overall. Mexico, the defending champions from 2 years ago.
Be a second serve for Horn.
Looked like Montoya lost his footing slightly and slipped just as he was about to hit that.
Yeah, right at the end there. But a pinch winner for Horn. I think we're going to see a lot of those in this match. Horn in the back of the court, using a little bit of breathing technique to keep himself calm. He was a little frustrated after that last rally. Let's see what he can pull off of this serve.
Great serve. Skip from Montoya. Hasn't done that very often in this first game, which is why he's currently leading. Horn, the Pan Am runner-up in March in Chile. Montoya won the gold medal in doubles with partner Beltran. Horn lost to Carlos Keller from Bolivia in that final. Keller lost in the round of 16 here to Sebastian Franco. Franco we'll see in our next match against American Charlie Pratt, who's been playing very well this week.
Sebastian Franco took out some big names that we're not used to not seeing, at this stage, like in the semifinals. He took out Carlos Keller from Bolivia, and he took out Daniel De La Rosa. Just surprising. It should be really fun to see him match up against Charlie Pratt in the match coming up after this. Timeout on the court as these guys need a little bit of a break here in game one. Things have kind of slowed down in terms of scoring. We saw some runs earlier in the game.
Yeah, Mexico took the timeout, and you mentioned Franco, a bit of an upset. Not really, Laura. Once you hit the quarterfinals, there are not really any upsets. Franco is a doubles world champion from 2014, has a pedigree in international racquetball himself. Carlos Keller, semifinalist in 2014 in singles, Pan Am champion in 2018 in Chile. De La Rosa, the finalist in 2016. You can see that these players, once they hit the quarterfinals, it's anybody's match, and it just depends on who's prepared more, who's most rested, who's executing their shots on the day. And that's what creates such drama at the World Championships. Sometimes you just can't pick the winners. You just don't know, and that's what makes it fun to watch.
Yeah, it does make it so fun because there are so many big names and players who you really love to watch, players who you see in finals, who have medals, and everything gets switched up here. And it's fantastic to see Horn and Montoya out here. Montoya kind of representing some of the next generation coming out of Mexico, and Horn just staying really solid here on Team USA for the past couple years. He has been performing very well in the last couple months with that silver medal at the Pan Ams.
Great
nice
retrieval.
Defense.
Both players with opportunities in that rally. Typically with a rally means someone's not making good shots. Montoya skips the ball. A couple of skips in the last few minutes. Another point for the American. It's now 7-9.
Yeah, both players fighting really hard right now. Horn just chipping away, I think, 1 point at a time. He had a good timeout. Things are looking good for him right now. Montoya just really solid too. He really likes to play to his game, and you don't see that pressure really start to get to him too much. He does play just very calm out there on the court.
He does. He loves his pinches though, and at times I think that you could see Horn almost expecting the pinches, and it retrieved a couple of them. And I think if Montoya can play down the line, keep the wide angles going, I think it will keep Horn a little bit surprised as something different.
Oh, wow. Quick hands right there. Nice play from Montoya.
Well, he guessed. He saw what he thought Horn was going to do, went that way. It's an all or nothing.
I take the gamble.
He also did something with it, and that's quick hands, because that was coming right at him. What a serve. Great return from the American. Oh my goodness.
That's a nice get. And Horn sending it to the deep corner. That was smart from Horn.
What a rally.
One thing I know from talking to Horn and overhearing him, he watches a lot of tape. For those of you at home that, are curious about some of the past matches that we've referenced or some of these past matchups, you can go to International Racquetball. They're on YouTube and watch a lot of those archived events. And that's what Horn does. He goes back through those archives and he studies his opponents.
Yeah, I spoke to him earlier this week and asked him what he was doing, for example, on his day off. And he said, well, every day here when I have breakfast, I watch an hour of racquetball.
Yeah.
I go on the YouTube channel and I watch some of the players that I'm playing. It's smart. And I think a lot of players actually do that. And I know coaches here have been looking at that YouTube channel in the evening over supper with their athletes to check out who they're playing the next day.
It is a great resource to have that tape on your opponent. Oh my gosh, look at this hustle. Wow. That's tough though. And Montoya just really able to kind of sit there comfortably in the center of that court.
Well, you can see the gettability as you call
it
from Horn, just staying in the rally. But Montoya is very experienced, even though this is only his second adult tournament. I say adult tournament. He obviously played many years as a junior, but representing Mexico at the adult level. He's very experienced, very composed. They've played each other a few times professionally. He knows Horn and Horn's ability to retrieve balls. It seems that he's prepared for it tonight, or this afternoon rather.
Second serve for Rodrigo Montoya.
We mentioned the pinches from Montoya. There was one that gets him another point. He was stuck there for a while at 9. It's now 10-7.
Montoya loves those pinches.
A reminder, of course, in November we have the Junior World Championships. They'll be held in San Luis Potosí in Mexico. We were there a couple of years ago. It's a great, great venue. We look forward to providing you coverage of those coming up through the ranks and will be the next superstars of the sport.
Nice return from Horn for the side out. Doesn't allow too many points from Montoya. We're at 7, serving 10 right now.
One of the juniors we saw this morning at the senior level, Gabriela Martinez, will be in the final tomorrow against Paola Longoria. Longoria won 11-7 in the tiebreaker against Vargas from Argentina. Martinez much more comfortable against Mendez in her semifinal. That'll be a repeat of 2016. Replay. Montoya will appeal this, surely. He will. Both line judges disagree. I have to agree with the line judges in this situation. You saw how long Montoya waited for the ball to come across the middle. I think Horn expected him to shoot it earlier. Side out.
USA coach telling Horn to shake it off. Can't let those things get into your head. It's 10 serving 7.
Great serve. I'm not sure what Horn wants.
He's appealing a short serve.
He's appealing a short serve. I thought it might be a wet ball. Second serve coming
so that'll
up.
Be a second.
So no appeal used in that situation because the call was overturned. Oh, too good. Horn from the U.S. Montoya recognizes that. What a shot. He practices these.
He does. I was just going to say, if you follow him on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see him practicing these shots, and look at the payoff. Side out. 7 serving 10 in game 1.
Things like that can also be mentally demoralizing, too, when somebody does something like that. You think it's going to be a low percentage. You think you're going to have an opportunity, and then they do something extraordinary. Montoya, though, too experienced to let it get to him. Side out. Back and forth we go. 10 serving 7. Suddenly we've got a very long game number 1. We're over 45 minutes into this match. Good shooting from Horn. Great down the line, cross courts. Another side out. You're just joining us. We're here at the Indoor Club in San Jose, Costa Rica.
Point for Horn.
Horn claims another point. We're at the World Championships. This is the semifinals, held every 2 years. Winner advances to the final.
Looks like they'll replay.
Replay first serve. I think Montoya thought it was short. His coach points to his head, stay focused. Avoidable hinder.
I think Montoya thinking it's a replay. Looks to his coach.
His coach agrees, but they'll appeal anyway. Both line judges agree. What I love about Montoya, Laura, is he just appeals. He doesn't get dramatic. He doesn't put on a little show. He just says, no, I disagree. I'd like to appeal. Just gets on with the next point. Sometimes players can let the moment get to them, and it affects the next point.
So that's a point for Horn. It's 9-10. There was no replay.
Beautiful from Montoya. There's what he needs to do. Okay, I didn't get the call last time. Let's just move on to the next rally. Get the side out first. 5 points needed by Montoya to take this game. 10 serving 9.
Oh, that ball not well anticipated by David Horn. That'll put Montoya at 11-9. We can take a look back at that serve. So he
Montoya.
lets it bounce between him, but then it bounces too far out.
And you can see the little fist pump from Montoya. That's about as expression, or about as much expression as you'll get from him. But you can see what it means to him. This is a big moment. He's at a World Championships, and this is his first World Championships at this level, and playing extremely well. What a match it was yesterday against Moscoso. Certainly a classic we were able to stream for you. Oh my gosh, what power.
Rips it.
Replay call. I like the call. You could see Montoya. I mean, the ball was nowhere near down. Horn doesn't like it, but I think he's more frustrated with his shot rather than the call.
Yeah, maybe hitting those a little too high when he has the opportunity to attack. See if he can keep his mental focus here, though, and side out Montoya. Montoya is ripping these serves.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the last few minutes he seems to have just gone up a little bit. We'll see if he hits more jam serves, right? He got the ace from that jam. We'll see if he throws it in a little bit more in this match.
Second serve for Montoya.
Z coming up to the backhand side. Montoya keeps it alive. Great effort from Horn.
That was a good effort, but I feel like when he was close up there, he couldn't feel Montoya was right there behind him. He kind of hit it right back at him. Montoya buries that in the corner.
Terrific effort from the American. He's going to take a timeout. Good timeout, I think, Laura. It's his final timeout, but why wait until you're at 14-9 or whatever that score is? You take the timeout when you need it. He needs to regroup. He's putting on his headphones. Curious to know what he's actually listening to. But he's got 1 minute before they get back on the court and resume.
Yeah, and maybe it's good for Horn. He just needs to kind of like check out for a minute, get something new in his ear. It's been a lot of racquetball this week. The World Championships of Racquetball started on August 10th. There's been round robin leading up to this for the seeding. David Horn did receive the #1 seed. He earned it this week. And they're here now fighting for the title of world champion. We are in San Jose, Costa Rica at San Jose Indoor Club, which has been a fantastic host. There are 18 countries represented here at the World Championships, which happen every other year, including some countries as far away as Ireland, Korea, Japan, Switzerland, and India.
Well, speaking of countries, you know, the streaming is a great way to advertise the international perspective of racquetball, and we've had countries contact us, even in this tournament, to say, hey, I'm really interested in starting an association in my country. What do I need to do? Example, just yesterday, we had an individual from Moldova who came from Cuba, actually, and is now living in Moldova, and I have juniors here. We're really interested in starting a program. If you are, do send us a message, either through Facebook or go to our website, internationalracquetball.com. Let us help you start that program and give you the tools to help encourage racquetball worldwide.
Back in game one, Montoya serves. It's 12-9. Montoya still in a good rhythm. Earns another point, puts him at 13.
Well, the official can ask the players to change their shirts at any point, and we're getting this constant towel breaks, and so we may see that. Could also be knee pads as well. One of the questions is whether an official can ask a player to change other things beyond their shirt, because knee pads obviously get very wet every time they dive. We're going to have a wet floor.
Second serve for Montoya.
Wow.
Oh, big setup for Montoya. Makes a big play and now has his first game point opportunity. 14-9.
Yeah, since Montoya took his timeout, he's really settled down and is playing much, much better. Horn has had opportunities, but just doesn't seem to be able to hit the winner. Montoya stays in the point and continually pushing the American around the court.
Got to give a shout out to Francesco, who has been doing a fantastic job of keeping these courts dry. He sprints out there every time to make sure that our players are safe on the court.
Oh,
wow.
Goodness, what a rally. Montoya flinging his body to stay in the point and then earns it. He takes the first, 15-9.
Horn so fast out there. To be interesting to see what happens when we come back in game 2. Will the power and control of Montoya carry him through, or will David Horn turn something up for game 2? We'll be back with more of the IRF World Championships of Racquetball in just a few moments, so don't go anywhere.
The gearbox leather sticks to my hand like it is my skin.
The best feeling in the world. You pull that thing out of the package and you can kind of just feel it still molded into the way they packaged it.
It's honestly is one of the best feelings ever. You put the new glove and you're like, I got this. It's so light and so comfortable that I feel like I'm playing with my bare hand.
The grip is a lot better, so I love having new gloves.
This is the 19th World Championships of Racquetball live in Costa Rica. I'm Laura McCormick, and Tim Baghurst is on the broadcast with me. We're watching David Horn from USA and Rodrigo Montoya from Mexico. One of the funny notes, I see people commenting on it in some of the feeds, and we've talked about it a little bit this weekend, is that at San Jose Indoor Club, all these courts were actually supposed to be squash courts, but somebody got it wrong, somebody was confused, and we ended up with racquetball courts, and now we've had a couple of IRF events here. We were in 2017 for the Pan Ams. We're back here for the World Championship, so it's been a great benefit for racquetball, and there is a great racquetball community here in Costa Rica. We'd like to thank the Costa Rican Racquetball Association for hosting us this week.
Absolutely. Many fans have come out to watch this spectacle. Great gets Montoya. Oh my gosh.
Another great get? Are you serious?
Oh,
and
rally.
Horn
Montoya.
keeps it alive.
Oh,
man.
Horn wants a replay.
Montoya just hitting that ball so low at the end.
Well, I don't know what our call was. I didn't catch it. Will it be a replay? Great athleticism from both players. You can see why this is a semifinal at a World Championships.
Dave Ellis, coach from USA, telling David Horn to appeal the hinder.
Well, this is a good example. I think he's talking about the last shot. And that's what our official is asking. Both line judges agree with our official. The line judge was asking which shot. Well,
Yeah, it's a good question.
We had about 30 shots. and that sometimes gets complicated, right? And so the assumption is that the line judges and official know what you're replaying, but Horn's hand went up at the end of that, so he loses an appeal. He has 2 remaining in this second game. We just clear the hour mark in this match.
That ball hitting Montoya in the back, they'll replay. 0-0 still in game 2. See Montoya drying off the ball since it hit him in the back, and I'm sure he is quite saturated with sweat at this point in the match. 0-0.
Ace serve, Montoya hits the crack in the corner and it just dies. Second point for the Mexican, exactly what he wanted. He's continuing.
First point.
Excuse me, 1 serving 0. It's exactly how he wanted to start game 2.
Nice get from Montoya. Good defense from Horn.
Montoya will want a replay, saying he was screened. He's not going to get it. This time I have to agree with our official because he was running forward. Horn hit behind him. Montoya can't appeal, shakes his head. He's not going to. His coach, Renteria, tells him to lift up his racket, slow things down, regroup. I like it. It's the value of having coaches here at a World Championships. Horn slips.
Stays with it though.
That time wins the rally.
Staying aggressive. He was able to re-find his footing out there. Now, talking about some of those advantages of the World Championships and events like this, when you're not only traveling with your team, so you have support already kind of built in, and normally such an individual sport, but you also have your coaches. And sometimes you have multiple coaches. You have extra eyeballs. You have people helping you decide if you should appeal, people telling you what maybe you can't see when you're out there in the court. And that's one of the things that makes an event like this so special, is the support that you get. And like you've mentioned, Tim, you're also competing for a team medal. So it just changes some of the dynamics that we're used to normally seeing in a regular racquetball setting.
Absolutely. And the coaches, let's face it, they can help or hinder a player. Because
True.
if you have those 3, 4, 5 people giving you opinions about what you should be doing differently, sometimes that can affect you. And it's valuable, I think, for these players to have the one person they go to really work with and have that relationship of trust. Should also mention as well that, some countries don't bring as many players, and it's hard for those players who may not have coaches, as an example. They have to figure it out on their own, whereas the larger contingents, the ones who bring the larger teams, may bring those coaches who are there to support them. And I think that's an advantage for sure. Beautiful from Montoya, forehand winner. 2 serving 1.
This is game 2 of our men's singles semifinal of the World Championships. There is one more match coming up after this, determining who will be going to the finals. It'll be Charlie Pratt from USA against Sebastian Franco from Colombia fighting for that spot. They play the winner of this match tomorrow in the finals.
Well, that was 2 terrific efforts from both players. Montoya flinging his body to the left side to keep that ball alive, showing his athleticism, and then Horn just ripping a winner into that left corner.
And we keep seeing Horn putting his hands on his chest during these mopping timeouts, during the wipe downs. We see him doing that to kind of calm himself down a little bit. It's a technique he's adopted over the last year and a half. Let's see if he can stay calm out there.
Horn still struggling to find a serve that he really likes. Montoya rips that one for a side out. Montoya, well, he's probably going to stick with that drive serve, consistently going to the left. Sometimes hitting the jam. We saw him hit a terrific jam serve earlier. I'm not sure what the call was.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I saw a screen, but it looks like he's calling a wet ball. If it's a wet ball, it should be a first serve, not a second serve. Two serves. See, that's the value right there. Renteria telling Montoya you have two serves, not just one. Oh my goodness, what a serve. Great defense from Horn.
Oh, what a diving hit.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. Starting it off with a ripping serve and Horn able to keep that ball alive. And then these guys just making incredible gets throughout the rally. This is what we see in a semifinal. Just outstanding athleticism from both Horn and Montoya. The referee out on the court has asked Montoya to change his shirt as he is too sweaty. Our floor cleaner Francesco is here from San Jose Indoor Club. He's been doing a fantastic job of keeping these courts dry. We are in Costa Rica. It has been quite humid, and so these guys are working hard out there. There's a lot of fans here in the area as well, and so it keeps the temperature really high.
We also want to mention a tournament going on in Ireland in a few weeks. We have a large contingent from Ireland here, and I know they bring a great group of talented individuals, juniors, and they will be there in San Luis Potosí, Mexico. They have the Irish Open coming up on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of October in Kilkenny City, Ireland. So, if you've wanted to go to Ireland, why not combine racquetball with that trip? It's always great to have the Irish here. They compete very hard. They're also very fun, very supportive of their team, and we appreciate the effort they've made to get here from Ireland. In we go, though, 3-1.
Game 2 of our men's singles semifinals. Montoya winning the first game 15-9. David Horn looking to keep the pressure on here and take game 2 so he can go to a tiebreaker.
Has to be frustrating, Laura, seeing how many balls Montoya gets back. It just, I gotta hit another one. I've gotta hit another one. It's so good. He puts so much pressure on his opponent.
That's part of that trouble of that gettability. Ooh, and Horn hits Montoya in the back, saying he's in the way. A little bit of discussion out on the court.
Snap of the wrist from Horn earns the side out.
One serving 3. So I think he might have called another wet ball because I just heard him say 2 serves. So Bobby Horn gets another first serve. That one's short. So this will be the second serve.
Replay. Well, Horn doesn't like it, but you could see that Montoya was clearly impeded by Horn.
Horn asking how many appeals he has after the referee calling a hinder. He's looking off to his coaching staff, who tells him not to use his appeal.
Yeah, I think that's wise. You want to keep that appeal for one of those situations where you're absolutely sure. Sometimes even in match point, game point, keep that appeal. We've actually seen it on our stream before where a player, it was a bad call by the referee. They wanted to appeal it. No appeals left. Match point. Sorry, guys. Point. Game's over. So keep that last appeal for one you're absolutely certain went against you.
Good coverage. Oh, between the legs.
See how Montoya looks back and anticipates where Horn is going. That time it's too good.
Horn ties it up 3-3.
Great match for you here today. We had two earlier women's singles. Longoria from Mexico defeated Vargas from Argentina 11-7 in a tiebreaker to advance to the final. She'll be taking on Gabriela Martinez from Guatemala, who defeated Natalia Mendez from Argentina in 2 straight games. That's a repeat of 2016. We'll see if Martinez can reverse the outcome from 2 years ago when Longoria won in 2 straight games.
3-3 here in game 2. Montoya winning 15-9.
One of the questions we had, Laura, was do you get an extra appeal on game or match point? The answer is no, not in international rules. We used to have 5 appeals per game, and it was changed a couple of years ago to just 3 appeals. We used to have 5 minutes between games 2 and tiebreaker. That was reduced to 2. And we reduced the number of timeouts to 2 per game. The idea being to increase the speed of this sport, keep everybody focused on the match rather than everything off the court.
Horn keeps it alive.
No, 2 bounces.
Oh, almost got it, Montoya. That'll be another point for Horn, 5-3. Pinch winner from David Horn. As we predicted, we've seen a lot of pinches so far.
This is what Horn needed in game 2, a little lead. Montoya pretty much led the entire first game. Going back to the appeal system and reducing the timeouts and time between games, when you factor in how many matches we have on these courts over the course of 8 days of competition, if every player took all their appeals, if every player took all of their timeouts, it adds hours to the day. And so that helps to reduce the amount of time that players are on the court, officials are on the court, and staff have to be there at the club. And it's really helped to speed things up.
Another point for Horn. We're at 6-3 in game 2. Remember, Horn was down 3-1. He's now scored 5 points to put himself at 6-3 to Montoya's no scored points.
Also want to thank our sponsors. Gearbox is the official sponsor of the ball. We use the Gearbox Black. eForce is the official racket of the IRF. We appreciate all their support in helping us to bring these tournaments to you. Screen serve called. 75 minutes into this match. Montoya had a 2.5-hour match against Moscoso yesterday. Should be a replay.
Well, it's an aggressive, frustrated swing from Horn.
Yeah, and he
He
shouldn't be
could
doing
get a
that.
warning from the referee. I think he apologizes to Montoya for his attitude out there.
Yeah, and the official can give them a warning or an automatic technical for behavior. They're not supposed to hit the ball after the rally.
Right, especially that hard.
Yeah, players do hit the ball up to the front of the court to allow the other opponent to get the ball, that kind of thing. It's up to the official to determine the judgment of, are they hitting it in frustration or aggression, that kind of thing. Wow, the referee allows play to continue. Montoya fist pumping. Horn should appeal this, I think. It was clear in.
Well, again, Horn only has that one appeal left, too. This is tricky.
But I think it was obvious, and we'll see if
Well,
our line judges agree.
We might think that, but our line judges are in control.
Will Montoya finish the point? I can't quite hear what Horn is saying.
He's asking for clarity on the rule, I think, about Montoya being on the floor. He's on the floor. I think he says it's an avoidable.
Yeah, that's right. He's saying Montoya was on the floor, came into contact. It should be an automatic avoidable. Now you can see Dave Ellis, the USA head coach, asking Arenas from Colombia to get a rules clarification, which they're allowed to do. If at any point a player is unclear of the rules or maybe doesn't agree with what the official is telling them, they can ask for a rules clarification. The first point of call is the tournament desk. If the tournament desk is not able to provide that answer directly from the rules, they go to the director of officials. Here at this tournament, it's Gustavo Farrell. He is actually here watching on, and so he's going downstairs to actually provide that clarification. We'll see what the call is when we come back here in a second.
In that time, I'll take advantage of this and inform everyone of some of the matches coming up later today. As you can see there at the bottom of the screen, our last men's singles streaming match that we will have is Charlie Pratt from USA versus Sebastian Franco from Colombia. And then later in the afternoon, we'll get into doubles. We'll be showing both women's and men's doubles, starting with the women's doubles of Guatemala versus Bolivia and men's doubles Mexico versus Bolivia. So make sure you all tune in for that. And of course, on Saturday, we will have the finals. We'll be streaming those all day, every final.
Well, players aren't allowed to come out of the court, and so you could see them right at the edge just having a conversation during an official's timeout. They are not allowed to come out unless directed by the official that they may leave the court. If they do, automatic technical.
So they're just getting a rules clarification. Bobby Horn asking, with Montoya on the floor, is that a hinder?
Well, an avoidable hinder.
A referee coming back.
It was a wild and crazy rally. Montoya will be serving at 3-6, so I don't think. Well, if he appealed, that should be a loss of appeal, correct?
I don't know if he actually appealed, though. I think he was just asking for a clarification because he only has that one appeal left.
That makes sense. Ace serve from Montoya.
Now that's the first point that Montoya has scored to Bobby Horn's 5 points. So now Montoya is at 4-6.
Loose for Montoya, punished by Horn. Well, this is a semifinal. This happens almost every tournament, right, Laura? There's something dramatic that happens.
does.
There's some kind of rule clarification. But you know what? We want to make sure we get it right. Players have the right to actually get the calls questioned. They have the right to appeal decisions. And
They're exercising their rights.
absolutely. And yeah, it takes a little bit of delay, but we want to make sure we get it right. And a lot of times these rules from these situations are clarified down the road. And so, you know, every tournament we have new rules that come up or new discussions about rules. Think back to a year ago at the Pan Am Championships on this very court. We had all kinds of drama with Longoria and Rasic in the final about a rules decision that went back and forth for 15 minutes. You can see that on our YouTube channel. It was one of the craziest matches ever that we've streamed.
Yeah, that was a fun match to watch now.
What a long rally. Great effort from both players. To some extent, Laura, you can see the value of having this gearbox black ball. It's a little bit slower, and it allows players to construct points and really stay in the point, as opposed to previous balls, which have been a lot faster, and it's just more almost, I don't want to say pinball style, but the ball is so fast that everybody's just hitting it as hard as they can. Here we can see how players trying to construct the point for the winner.
Coming up next, we have Charlie Pratt from USA and Sebastian Franco from Colombia. That'll be another intense matchup here at our men's singles semifinals. We're playing right now to find out who will play the winner of the Pratt-Franco match, but first we have to find out if Horn or Montoya will be going through to the semifinals.
Horn will want that one back.
Yeah, that was so close.
He said something to Montoya. Not sure what it was. Montoya gave him a little look and a smile. Montoya controls his emotions very well, doesn't get rattled for serving 6.
Five serving 6. This has been quite a battle so far today. Montoya just chipping away, really showing his strength is part of his patience.
Great rally. Horn. Another good get from Montoya. Another replay. Back and forth these players go. Montoya wasn't quite sure why they stopped, and it was just asking his opponent. Just a reminder, coming up, we have another singles match. We hope you stay with us. Charlie Pratt of the USA has been playing extremely well. We haven't seen him on this court, but you can go to International Racquetball Federation and look at the draw and see some of his scores. He's been in fine form. He defeated Samuel Murray yesterday in 2 straight games. Murray from Canada was a bronze medalist 2 years ago. Pratt likes this court. He was a finalist a year ago. What a defense. I love how Horn stayed in that point. Laura, go back a couple of shots. Struggling to keep the ball in play, but he did something smart with it, getting it, the Z, back to the back of the court. And had his opportunity at the front. Looks like he's a little sore. Not sure what happened.
I mean, between yesterday and today, he has been diving all over the courts, really exerting himself. Of course, we hope he's okay. Montoya now ties it up 6-6 in game 2.
This has been a really, really long match if you think about it. We're 6-6 in game 2, and we're almost at the 90-minute mark.
And this is what these athletes train for. They have to train for multiple conditions, different altitudes, different situations.
So here we have Horn being worked on by physical therapist Brent Huff. Looks like he has an injury and is taking an injury timeout. So an injury timeout, it happens when a player comes into contact with something else. So not pulling a muscle or a cramp or, I feel sick to my stomach. No, sorry, you can't have that injury timeout. But if you run into a wall, into another player, maybe hit yourself with the racket, something like that, you are entitled to that injury timeout. 15 minutes total time. So what that means is Horn can take 15 minutes or he can take 3 minutes. If later he has another injury, he can then take the rest of that 12 minutes. What he can't do is take, say, 4 minutes here, then go back in the court after the next rally, say, oh, my knee or ankle or whatever, I can't quite see what he's
It's like a one-shot
on.
opportunity, right? Like you have that 15. If you choose to cut it short, that's it. You don't get to later go back, right, and be like, oh, you know what? I want to revisit my injury timeout because I've tweaked it.
Well, we have to say it's the same injury. So
Correct.
He's allowed.
He could get a different injury, right? It has to be totally separate.
Exactly. Otherwise, what could happen is a player then is allowed to use 15 one-minute timeouts for the same injury.
Which could just get absurd. For anyone who's ever looking for clarification on the rules, you can go to internationalracquetball.com and check out the rules there. Those are posted. You can go through several pages of information. Coming up next, another USA player in the men's side, Charlie Pratt.
We'll be taking on Sebastian Franco from Colombia, who defeated Mexican De La Rosa, who actually just walked across our screen. He's playing in doubles later on this court against Bolivia. That will be a terrific match, men's doubles, Mexico-Bolivia. And also coming up this afternoon, women's doubles, Guatemala and Bolivia. Horn continues to get treatment down to the right.
I think we will take a quick little break. We'll play a commercial and we'll be right back in just a few moments with more here at the International Racquetball Federation World Championships.
The gearbox leather sticks to my hand like it is my skin.
The best feeling in the world. You pull that thing out of the package and you can kind of just feel it still molded into the way they packaged it.
It's honestly one of the best feelings ever. You put the new glove and you're like, I got this. It's so light and so like comfortable that I feel like I'm playing with my bare hand.
The grip is a lot better, so I love having new gloves.
For those of you just coming back, we are currently in an injury timeout in the Horn-Montoya match. The injury timeout is 15 minutes, all taken in one break for that particular injury. Horn has left the court. I think he's gone out with the personal trainer now who's going to be taking a look at him. We appreciate your patience here at the IRF World Championships. This is the 19th World Championship. It's an event that happens every other year. These guys are fighting for a spot in the finals, which we will be live streaming tomorrow. If we take a look at our singles semis schedule, earlier today we were streaming Paola Longoria from Mexico, who defeated Maria Vargas from Argentina in a tiebreaker. Vargas winning game 1, Paola coming back to win games 2 and 3. Then we had Gabby Martinez from Guatemala. She faced off against Natalia Mendez from Argentina. Guatemala Martinez had defeated Mendez in 2 games earlier today. So we know now that our women's final is set. It'll be Paola Longoria from Mexico, who is defending her title, and Gabby Martinez from Guatemala. Now on the men's side, we are currently watching Horn from USA against Montoya from Mexico. We're in this injury timeout. And they will play the winner. Whoever wins this match will play the winner of Charlie Pratt from USA and Sebastian Franco from Colombia. Sebastian Franco has taken out some big hitters here this weekend, including Carlos Keller and Daniel De La Rosa.
Well, Laura, I was just down at the court just trying to find out what was going on. Had a quick conversation with head coach Dave Ellis and said that Horn had hurt his groin, his right leg, as he was diving. He's back in the court area. Reminder, he's entitled to 15 minutes. He's just cleared the 7-minute mark for this injury. Quick change of shirts. Looks like he's ready to go back on the court. Everybody around us, suddenly the volume goes up as they have an opinion. USA supported by Brent Huff, their physical therapist. Again, Laura, we talked about having coaching staff and everybody here supporting a team. There's a great example, just having a physiotherapist right there to be able to provide some immediate advice and treatment. You go to a professional tournament, for example, sorry, you got to figure this one out on your own. Certainly shows the value of a team bringing support staff for these events.
And it looks like, yeah, he was able to wrap up Horn's leg, so we're expecting to see him back out on the court. He's changed his shirt. He'll be now in the blue USA shirt. Montoya staying warm out on the court. It's all tied up in game 2, 6-6. Rodrigo Montoya winning game 1, 15-9. Horn is now looking to regroup, come back out. I mean, it's basically like 0-0 right now, right? It's the first 1 to 15 in this match. If Horn can take this, we're going to a tiebreaker. If not, Montoya will be pushing through for his first ever World Championship final. But, Tim, anything can happen. It's 6-6.
We've heard that before from Laura McCormick. One of the questions we had about the injury timeout, again, just to reiterate, to restate, you have to come in contact with something. So if you pull a muscle, diving into the floor, as was described to us, that's contact with the floor. That created the injury. Then there's an injury timeout. If Horn is just running forward and pulls a muscle, then there should be no injury timeout.
Well, the door is closed. Horn's back out on the court. We'll see how this affects Horn.
Well, and I think we'll see how it affects Montoya, too.
Yes,
because it's easy for an opponent to just get a little rattled. I got to do something different because he's injured. Montoya needs to keep his focus and continue doing what he's doing.
Horn able to side out. Sounds like he's keeping himself fired up out there. This is tough. Both players looking like they really were able to keep their focus. Rodrigo Montoya with the side out. It's still 6-6.
Horn slow to get up that time. Montoya, backhand pinch winner.
And a point.
These are long rallies, Laura. They have to take their toll physically. We, mentioned that Horn's match yesterday against Mercado was, I'm not going to say routine, because nothing's routine in a quarterfinal.
Not at all.
But he won in 2 straight games, and the scoreline wasn't as close as Montoya's against Moscoso, where we had 2.5 hours of drama on this court, back and forth through the tiebreaker. Is it going to affect Montoya as we continue? We're well over the hour-and-a-half mark, but these professionals should be ready for this kind of environment, knowing that this happens a lot at these championships.
Yeah, I think these guys are prepared.
What?
Horn, I think a little emotional too. This is his last appeal. He's appealing the avoidable hinder. Oh, and the judges are split.
One agrees, one disagrees. 7 serving 6.
No more appeals for Horn.
Avoidable hinder is certainly the most controversial call in the rule book. It's very much a judgment from the official and the line judges, and we all have different opinions most of the time.
Sliding get from Horn. Oh.
Here's another example.
I just have to say, I love Montoya's expression with this. He keeps his cool, as we've noted.
Well, here we'll have a replay. A replay and an appeal. Montoya looks to his coach. One disagrees, one agrees. This time in favor of Horn. So the line judge on the left switch calls. The line judge on the right switch calls from the previous appeal.
I guess it balances out for both players, not the way they wanted it to when they did call the appeal.
Yeah, so Montoya was looking for basically a blocking call, which is actually in the rule book where a player fails to move themselves out of the way.
Ooh, and Montoya channeling all of that into his overhead rollout from deep in the court to make it 8-7.
It's these avoidable hinders are always a judgment call, and I'd be curious to see what others think. Put it in the chat box. Is it a replay or an avoidable hinder? Reminder, let's finish this rally first. Soft hands for Montoya.
Beautiful.
9-6, timeout USA. Let's go back to the avoidable hinder. We're talking about a straight shot to the front wall. And a lot of people think that, well, if I hit somebody and they jumped, it's a replay. Something to that effect. No, that's not the call, because otherwise, Laura, we had this discussion with Gustavo Farrell, the director of referees, earlier in the week. Well, then how high is high enough when you jump, right?
Yeah.
Why jumped? Well, the response is next time you have to jump higher as long as that ball is straight. So sometimes I think players could attack it. We see Carson do this a lot from his outdoor experience. They hit, instead of going to the ceiling, they actually attack down. Well, if you're attacking down and somebody expects you to go to the ceiling and that person is in the way, you could be called an avoidable hinder, even though the ball is above your head. And I think sometimes the players are maybe not aware of that rule, or have picked up rules from professional tours or even in their own national organization. The IRF rules are the ones we use here, and again, coaches who come on a regular basis know these rules and can really help the players get it right on the appeals and not losing the plot when a call goes against them when it's actually the right call.
It is so important for the whole staff, all the coaches and your teammates to know the rules. And I know, like in particular, USA Racquetball has separate rules from international rules. And so it is really good to familiarize yourself with these things. And this is great discussion to have out here at the World Championships. You can go to internationalracquetball.com and familiarize yourself with the rules, because they are different from USA, and I feel like that's a lot of the comments that we see, right, is that part of that controversy.
Not just the USA, but other organizations, professional tours have different rules, and it just...
Sure, those are just the comments I can understand, though. No,
You'll
I'm just
ask,
kidding.
Horn will ask for a replay. Ball hit the corner. Montoya doesn't like it, but Renteria tries to get his attention and says, no, just that was a good call. And that's, again, where the coach helps to keep the player focused on what he needs to do. Oh, okay, it did hit it. Fine, let's move on. Replay, 9-6. Nice serve down the right side. Horn gives some acknowledgement to his opponent. That's nice to see. Catching Horn looking to the left.
We can take a look back at that killer serve from Montoya. Puts him at 10-6. Now we've seen Montoya score 4 points here to Horn's 0.
What a serve.
Nice get.
Great defense from Horn. Gives him an opportunity. What
Keeps
a rally.
it alive.
What a rally.
Oh, and Horn able to put it away.
Montoya had his chance, went for the pinch splat, didn't put it down. Horn went cross court, but it was 2 bounces, side out.
That was tough. I feel like there were a couple opportunities in that rally. And
Yeah.
it came down to the very end. There was a couple balls that were maybe hit too high when they had the chance. A couple balls that were hit right directly back to your opponent. But both players did show good patience in that rally despite some mishits.
Well, that's what makes rallies great, is some mistakes or misjudgments from players. You felt that Montoya wanted to go to his splats and pinches, which he loves to do, and down the line would have got him that point. I may be being hypercritical. I'd love to see Montoya not always go for it every shot.
Agreed. But it works, Tim. It works. Montoya's going to stick with those pinches. He's back in the service box now. 10-6.
He really trusts them, and you can see why. Very confident in those shots. 5 points away from a place in the final. He runs up to take this.
Good
Smart
coverage.
shot.
Oh, and hits it just so low.
Great play from the Mexican. I really love how he went up and attacked that ball coming off the front wall. Put so much pressure on the other member in the court to really do something special.
11 serving 7 in game 2. Remember, Montoya won game 1, 15-9.
Great cross court for Montoya. Snap of the wrist. Or there's an example where he took some pace off it, went for 2 bounces before the back wall, didn't rip it like he can.
12-6 now for Montoya. Ooh.
That'll be an avoidable hinder.
Side
we'll
out.
probably see Montoya appeal it, of course. I think that's the correct call from our Colombian official, Arenas. No appeal. Great serve. Horn. Beautiful shot.
That's just such a great example of how effective a serve can be. He gets a weak return from Montoya and puts it away. 7-12.
I'm not sure. This is Renteria asking for something. I think,
It's
okay.
about the chatter out there on the court. Horn is saying he's talking to himself. Montoya feels like he's being talked to by Horn.
Well, yeah, and Horn went past and looked at Montoya when he said, I don't know what, but, you know, this is, Bobby Horn said he was talking to himself. Either way, let's focus on the match at hand. Let's just play racquetball. Great shot from Horn. Might see a timeout for Montoya.
We see Montoya sticking with those pinches. A good read from Horn, and Horn sends it down the line for a winner. 8-12.
Lob again to the forehand, kicks out. Oh my goodness, that's tough, Flora. Wow, snap of the wrist for the forehand pinch winner. Great shot.
That was tough because that serve kicked out. Horn was able to defend, and then Montoya just does something unreal to get himself in the service box. 12-8.
Great hands. And again, flick of the wrist, but with power and control. It shows why he's playing so well. It's 13-8. 2 points away from this match, Montoya.
And that's tough. Montoya is ripping those serves with a lot of power. Horn was able to return it, and Montoya just puts it away. He's looking really confident, too, right now. I mean, you know, he was just asking about the chatter that he's hearing from Horn, but he doesn't let it affect him. And he stays focused, sticks to his own game out there. And he is so quiet and collected, and he's been that way this whole match. He hasn't become frustrated.
He's been that way
His
ever
whole life?
since we've
No.
seen him in the International Racquetball Federation, even as a junior. Doesn't let many things rattle him. You know, some players try the chatter just to, you know, change the pace or the thought processes of the opponent. Montoya's been here before. They've played each other before. This isn't a new experience. And so he's just playing within himself. And you saw those last 2 points were extremely good from Montoya. Really smart racquetball. Gets a couple of points. He's 2 points away now. Let's see if he'll close it out. USA have 1 timeout remaining.
And part of that new experience, if these two are matching up against each other. As you mentioned, we've seen them matched up before, but a different element to that is being here at the World Championship. Montoya, Horn, representing their countries. They have the support of the coaches. They have the support of their teammates out here. And it's an event where 18 different countries have come out to the World Championships here in San Jose, Costa Rica, including Korea, Japan, Ireland, Switzerland, India. Then, of course, we have teams that we do see routinely here on the IRF at other events like the Pan Ams, including Venezuela, Guatemala, Colombia, Chile. Come on, Tim, let's see if we can name them all. Mexico, USA.
I'm going to see if you can name them all, Laura. What I do want to say, though, is
Dominican Republic.
I want to talk about this team event because this is really, really big for the men's title. We have one Mexican in the men's singles left and 2 Americans. In the doubles,
well, we're all American if we're on this continent. To USA.
As we continue, we have men's doubles. We have USA and Mexico still both in the doubles. And so this is a really, really big situation because Mexico are the defending champions. If both U.S. could win and get to the final, that would give them a real great shot of overturning that from 2 years ago. Montoya, though, he wants to be in the final, help his team earn that title. Great pickup, Montoya. Skips the ball on his backhand side. Side out.
Eight serving 13.
Smart shot from Montoya. I'm not sure what Horn is asking for. He thinks the ball's broken. Can only be determined by a squeeze. Serving 8. 2 points away from this match and a place in the final. Montoya at his first World Championships. Should be a replay.
Yep.
Good decision
Referee
from our
calls a
Colombian
replay.
referee Arenas. And thank all the referees who've come here to give their time and energy. It's been great to see them mature over the last few years and become better and better. And it's improved the calls being made on the court and the behavior of the athletes and just some respect shown back and forth. Many of these referees are, in fact, players as well. Second serve coming up. Z serve to the left side. Hits Montoya's racket.
Ooh, and the referee, though, standing his ground. He doesn't want to hear any more from Horn. He says that's his call. He's not going to have a discussion about it.
Well,
and Horn's out of appeal, so
exactly.
he doesn't have another option.
And it looked pretty wide. He's allowed to hit to the cross court in the back corner. But that looked wider than that. Wow, what a shot from Montoya.
Match point now for Rodrigo Montoya from Mexico. Could send himself through to his first World Championships final.
No timeouts for USA. Almost 2 hours this match.
Oh! Referee is calling a skip. Horn is going to lose it, I think, if he hears that. 15-9, 15-8. Rodrigo Montoya will be moving on to the finals of the IRF World Championships here in Costa Rica, which you can catch live stream tomorrow. We will have all that action for you. What a semifinal. We'll find out if he will play Charlie Pratt of USA or Sebastian Franco of Colombia. That match coming up next. Tim, any quick final thoughts before we...
I really want to look forward to this next match. We saw a quality match here.